the apps give us that instant gratification. That is the kind of society that we are in right now. We want those little hits of dopamine. We want our ego stroked. We want something that's at our fingertips. So cool, he's a loud chewer. I bet I can find somebody else tomorrow that's not a loud chewer. And then on to the next.
Hello, and welcome to Situaseans podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Williams, aka seanydoo. You can call me Sean, seanydoo. Does not matter to me. I'm just glad that y'all are here, and I have a special guest here on the show, Madden Zappa. She is a fitness pro. She is also a dating coach, and she is the host of We're Dating the Same Guy podcast. So thank you so much for coming on.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I came across a couple of your reels on Instagram, just talking about dating and relationships, I was like, oh, yeah, I need to have her on this show stat.
I love it.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, how many years have you had your podcast going?
I just launched it in April. So it is a baby podcast. We are growing. We'll finish season 1 actually next week, and then season 2 starts in October.
Wow. All right. We
Yeah,
love that. That's a go all the way the fuck off.
exactly. Thank you.
Speaking of go all the way the fuck off, get your go all the way the fuck off t-shirts. You'll see it pop up on your screen, situationspodcast.com. Click on the merch tab and go get those shirts, you all. But yeah, so those of you that may be tuning in for the first time, this is Situations Podcast. We talk about dating, relationships, mental and emotional life experiences. Ooh, fucking we. There's so much shit that goes on in the dating world, and the goal of this episode is to each episode is to solve dating by the end. So, Madden, are you ready to just solve dating entirely?
I was like, that is a big task, but we can at least try to tackle it.
Exactly. We'll be fine for sure. And just a couple of housekeeping items. I want you all to definitely continue to go ahead and subscribe, follow all that good stuff. And then this today we'll be talking about how to break some of those repetitive dating patterns and how you can date differently. And so since Madden is an expert in a lot of these discussions, it's great that we have her here to kind of help us unpack this all. So I kind of want to know a little bit more about you, Madden. So you're
Yeah.
based in Minnesota. So did you grow up there? Like, tell me all about it.
Yes, I was born and raised in Minnesota, and I think like a lot of Minnesotans growing up, we kind of want to get out of the Midwest. And so I moved out of state for college and for grad school, and I told myself in high school I would never come back. I was like, I'm going to leave and I'm going to live elsewhere. But here I am back in Minneapolis. I think there's just a homey comfort feel about everything that takes place here in the Midwest. And so, yeah, here I am, still here.
All right. That's awesome. Yeah, I've never been to Minneapolis, but like that's actually one of the cities that's on my I guess bucket list because I'm just like, yeah, I
Yeah,
hear so many good things about it. So for sure. And I think I
so
got a little bit
much.
more introduced to it during what was that, the last season of Love is Blind. I was like, oh, okay, like, all right, cool. This is
Yeah,
what this city's a little bit like. Okay, cool.
yeah.
And speaking of Love is Blind, I think you had somebody from Love is Blind on your show. What was that like?
Yes. I had Dave from the most recent season, and then I also had Kelly from the very first season on at the beginning of our first season. It was really fun, to be honest. I wanted to bring him on because, as we all know, reality TV also likes to paint its own story and paint its own picture. And so Dave in that season is definitely has more of that controversial story. So I kind of wanted to learn about it myself and ask him the real questions. And from my experience with him, he truly is a genuine person and a sweet guy. None of us know what it's like to be in the pods unless you are in the show. So it was a really cool experience to have him on and talk to him.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm glad that you pointed that out. I think sometimes whenever we see reality TV, we forget that the reality TV stars and contestants, they're people too with real feelings and emotions, and they're making
Totally.
hard decisions in real time.
Yes.
And I'd say a lot of times they're making these decisions much faster than a lot of us would in the real world. Because, like, yeah, in Love Is Blind, they have like what, a few weeks to decide, hey, am I going to marry this person? When in
Such a
reality,
short amount of time.
exactly. No one's doing that out there in the real world. Like, "Oh, yeah,
And
I just met this person. Sure, let's go ahead."
could you imagine on date 5? Are you ready to get married now?
Exactly, right? Yeah, so I do think that sometimes, especially social media, I get it, people make decisions that maybe, I wouldn't make or that person wouldn't make, but we gotta remember, come on, you all, like, yeah, they're people too. They got
100%.
lives. And so it's really cool that you were able to kind of humanize him and kind of and
Thank
and
you.
have him on your show and have both
Yeah.
those contestants on your show.
Yeah.
The first year that I did this show, I had Estefania and Maris from season 5 since they didn't have their stories aired out, earlier
Oh,
in the pod. So I was like,
yeah.
okay, I want to know about how was it like, what was it like, like like even like the was it like the gold wine glasses that everybody had. I was asking questions about that. It was like, oh yeah, we got to keep some of them. So yeah, it's a lot of
Oh,
cool stuff.
so much. Which is actually funny you mentioned that. I have a deep love of Love Island. And so,
Yes.
one of my best friends, it's like our go-to show. So, one year I got us little flute glasses that were gold that matched the show.
Yes. And speaking of Love Island, I am like halfway through the season. Like I had just started it maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago and just I'm like getting all the spoilers via social media. I'm like, "You know what? I'm probably the only person that doesn't mind the spoilers." I'm like, "Just give it to me. That's fine."
I haven't watched this season yet, and I'm like, "Do not give me the spoilers. Don't tell me anything."
Everybody gets married. I'm just kidding.
Spoiler.
Right? Awesome, awesome. And so, what was it? It's like, what are some of your favorite things to do, in your side of town? And what's the dating scene like out there?
Okay, so where do we start? So in terms of things to do and like in Minneapolis, I'm a big outdoors girly. And so especially we're wrapping up summer, but it's the best time of year into the fall to be outside with all of the lakes and all of the leaves changing. It's just beautiful. So that's typically where you'll find me if I'm not teaching, if I'm not coaching, if I'm not podcasting, I am outside doing something or I also pole dance. So you'll also find me in the studio playing with choreography or trying not to fall and hurt myself.
Nice. All right. Wow. Just so many like active activities and just staying
Yeah.
busy. We love that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then in terms of the dating scene, I think it's really easy. Especially when you've been in a city for a long period of time and have dated in that city, it's so easy to default to it's so small. The dating pool is I've seen everybody on the apps and there's no one left. And I have had these conversations with girlfriends that have lived in different cities. And so it's easy to say that, but I think at the end of the day, I do think we have a really good pool of people to date in the cities. And when you weed through the people that you're not attracted to or the people you don't click with, I think there are really genuine, wholesome people that are here. We were raised on good Midwest values. And so I like to go into dating with that perspective here in Minneapolis.
Absolutely. Wow, that's a really great positive way to look at it because yeah,
Yeah,
to your point, we do kind of just, hear the kind of like the same stories or hey, like wherever insert whatever city, oh, it's
exactly.
it's the same. We run into everybody at the same bar or dated everybody through the apps. So that's a
Yeah.
really good perspective that you pointed out. 'cause I remember even in Love Is Blind, not to make Love Is Blind like the star of this episode, but I just remember I just remember that being the theme in, the
Yeah,
Minnesota season and the season before that, all the contestants were saying, "Oh, yeah, I know this person," or like we ran into each other at the same bar,
yeah,
so it's good to kinda just hear a different perspective on that, so for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, and even just, kinda just, taking a step back, so even just as a fitness professional and, like, even a dating coach, I kinda
yeah.
wanna know, like, what led to your passion for, helping so many people, not only with their health and wellness journey, but also with their dating life?
How much time do we have?
Got about an
Okay.
hour.
Oh, it is a long, twisted journey to how I got to where I am, and the dating coach side of me and the fitness professional, like, their paths don't cross, really. They both were on different trajectories, so getting into fitness full time was never the goal. My education is in mental health and in psychology, so I truly thought that that was where my full-time career was going to take me, but I struggled with my own mental health growing up in college, and one of the biggest saving graces for me at that time was yoga. And so once I graduated college, I wanted to create a space and hold space for people that was held for me. And so that kind of led me on the fitness route, and it eventually just transformed into what it is now, doing that full time. But even in the moments that are really hard for me to show up, I always go back to that why of I truly don't know the stories of the people who are walking into my studio day in and day out. And even like post pandemic, sometimes that was the only interaction people had with other humans in person was coming to those classes. So that's what kept me going and allowed me to grow that path to where it is today. But if we rewind everything a bit in terms of the dating coach avenue side, when I was getting my master's degree, I was kind of playing around with, okay, what do I wanna do? And I knew for sure that therapy wasn't the route for me. I didn't wanna go the clinical side of psychology. And so I was introduced to life coaching, and I was like, "Okay, this seems a little bit more up my alley," because you look at therapy and coaching, therapy is really deep diving your past, and life coaching is working with your mindset to help you move forward and to look forward. So I was like, I can do that. Like, that sounds really fulfilling. So when I was in grad school and the year after grad school, I was introduced to the sensuality and the energy side and the femininity side of what you could do with it. And I ate it up. I loved it so much. Yet at the same time, I knew I couldn't coach on it yet. There was something that was so deep ingrained within me that I was like, this is just not an integrity to who I am yet. It made me very uncomfortable, but I was so fascinated by it. So a lot of years went by and my coaching transformed from health coaching to I tried to coach on sensuality, but I was like, this isn't it yet. I did a little bit of business coaching and then I took a lot of time off to really focus on fitness because the vision wasn't there yet. I had the hits, I had the idea of what I wanted to do, but it just didn't feel quite right to do it. And it wasn't until about, I would say, a year and a half ago, I really started to get the nudges of like, it's coming. You're getting ready. You feel the draw to be back in the sensuality space and the dating space and to talk all about these things that are still stigmatized of like, don't you dare talk about those out loud. And then I went through a relationship that I think a lot of us will go through things that are just like puts us on the trajectory of like, we're doing the fucking thing. Like, now is the time. And I went through a relationship that really rocked me in multiple ways and inspired the podcast. And then I went through another relationship that was like, now is the time. fucking rip the Band-Aid off and just do it. You have the lessons, you have the confidence, you know what you're talking about. You're just afraid to do it out loud, and you just have to go for it.
Wow. Yeah, that's
That was a
such an
lot.
inspire no, no, honestly, no, that was perfect because that's such an inspiring story, and I'm just so glad that you shared that with us because,
Thank you.
yeah, you are just resilient and just even just in those past experiences you took from that and you wanted to do something to help other people so that,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't have to kinda, go through some of the same trials and tribulations that you went through, so that's really
Mhm.
admirable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely. And so even and I think I remember reading up that so you started dating like in college. So like in your younger years, high school, like you were kind of just more so focused on the academics, not really boys. It was like, hey, study, study, study. Then college. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let me give a try at dating. What was the like because we do hear so many people start, like having their flings in high school and oh here's my 1 week boyfriend or girlfriend. So tell
That's so
me
not me.
yeah, yeah.
I I obviously had crushes in high school, but I kind of laugh that if high school me were to see me now, her jaw would be on the floor. She would be like, "What are you doing?" Like, there was no way that is what we were going to be doing as our path, and now that's where you are. I also think she would think I'm fucking cool, but she would be so shocked that this is what we're doing. I was just so focused on the goal. I was focused on the college. I was focused on the grades. I was focused on my jobs. I was focused on dancing. Like, yeah, like I said, I had crushes, but they didn't interest me to the point of drawing me away from what the end goal is. And I really admire my younger self for doing that because there are times now as an adult, I'll get into a relationship and the relationship will consume me and I'll lose the goal or I'll lose the vision for a short amount of time. So part of me needs to go back to reconnect to that version of myself to still have that direction, but still be able to balance them now at the same time. Um, and then in college, I think it was more getting out of my comfort zone and date a little bit, but I still really didn't date that much. I think my first quote unquote serious relationship happened junior year of college and he lived here in Minnesota. And so we did the long distance thing. And then once we were actually in the same state, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So I really didn't have like my first serious real relationship until I was out of college.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay. And you know
Yeah,
what? And I think in my opinion, I feel like maybe yeah, you dodged so many bullets because like
probably.
we hear so much about like, oh yeah, like my college dating experience was wild because like she did this or he did this. And so I
Yeah,
definitely think maybe you dodged a lot of bullets and like a lot of stress, if you the way I see it.
probably.
But it's cool that even just in your adult relationships and like the things that you've experienced, you kind of again you try to tie those experiences into like why you started the podcast and even on my end that's kind of why I started my podcast because I had after my most recent relationship I had met somebody in the middle of COVID, so like May 2020, and then we broke
Yeah.
up like 2 years later in 2022. And so, after that relationship, I was, like, just getting on, like, the dating apps the second time around, because the first time
Mhm.
I was on the dating apps was, like, late 2018, early 2019, up until that aforementioned relationship, and so,
Yeah,
getting back on the apps, I was like, "Ooh, the apps have really changed." Like, is it really me that's going through, like, all these ghostings and people just are bad communicators and no one is, like, really authentic? Like, what's going on? And so, I was just airing out my frustrations,
yeah,
on the first few episodes, and people started to listen and submit their questions and like hey, I went through this and like or this this guy said this, what does this mean? Sure, I'll give you like my opinion, but I want you
yeah,
to know I am not an expert. This is just me just talking from like a general sense. And so
totally.
yeah. But yeah, the dating scene is definitely unhinged, and we're definitely going to be covering it, that for sure.
The wild,
So,
wild west out there.
yes, it really is. And, and speaking of which, like, yeah, like, since it is like, since it is so complicated, and even just with all the things that go into dating, like, I kind of want to know, like, do you kind of share that same experience where it's just like, yeah, people kind of feel that it's easier to go back onto the app. So, like, let's say somebody out there, they have a first date or a second date, whatever it is, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I don't like the way that that person chews." So instead of like choose food. So instead of like talking to that person about it and communicating, I'm gonna just go back onto the apps and find somebody else who doesn't chew loudly or whatever it is.
100%. I feel like we are getting so caught up in very little details about people when we're forgetting what the big picture is. Like, okay, they're a loud chewer. Yeah, communicate that because they actually could have really good qualities that you're really missing and overlooking. But the apps give us that instant gratification. That is the kind of society that we are in right now. We want those little hits of dopamine. We want our ego stroked. We want something that's at our fingertips. So cool. He's a loud chewer. I bet I can find somebody else tomorrow that's not a loud chewer. And then on to the next.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a bad numbers game. That's kind of what
It
it turned into.
100% is. Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
And then we just hear, so many, just different stories that people kind of recollect or even just talk about on social media, on Instagram and TikTok. And then yeah, it seems like everybody is just at a point where we're all just frustrated with dating. We're just tired. Like, turn off the apps. Let's just go meet in real life again. Like, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's a lot. And even, kinda just unpacking something like a little bit deeper. So I know even just on social media, so we've all heard about, the latest, news with like, the T apps exploding and then and going off. And then we've heard about the "Are we dating the same guy?" Facebook groups and stuff like that. I kinda wanna know, in your opinion, like, even between you and your friends, like in your experiences, do you feel like those
Mhm.
communities have made it safer and better for, women to date in the heterosexual space?
I might be the wrong person to be asking this question to because think I think their intent and the why behind these things have been created is positive. I think how they are now being used as a whole is not quite what they're meant for. And I do think there are still some positives that people are in there letting others know of severe experiences that should be looked out for. But I also think there's just a lot of negativity and frustration about dating, and you're just gonna air it out. You're just sad or upset that he didn't choose you. And so you're gonna go bash him and say negative things about him when at the end of the day, he really isn't a bad person. And so I think if we're gonna continue to use those pages, like really need to reel it back a little bit and remember the why behind them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's such a dark, dark hole, like, just like social media, it's another social media page. You can just scroll and scroll and scroll, and if you can get lost in there for 10, 20, 30 minutes, and afterwards, you'll leave and walk away from your phone being like, "I don't think I wanna date anymore. I think I'm done. I think I'm done."
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, yeah, like, I definitely, get exactly where you're coming from, because, like, yeah, if, let's say 10 people share about their experience, like on this app, like if 10 women say, "Oh yeah, well, this guy, he takes 3 or 4 hours to, like, to text back, or like, does he really want me?" And other people have the same experience with whoever it is that they're dating, and I guess, God forbid, it's the same guy, but if it is,
Yeah.
it's like it equates, okay, well, I guess all men are terrible at texting or getting back to, or all, so I,
Yes.
I I do agree. It does kind of create some of like that gray area. Is like,
It's
okay.
very gray. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, yeah, we do want women to be protected out there. We do want women to have
Mhm.
safe dating experiences, but at the same time, we do wanna make sure that, I guess, like, overall, hey, just because if like as long as this guy isn't doing like he didn't harass you sexually, or or you like your life or welfare wasn't at stake, and it was just some miscommunication between you both that happens literally between everybody who has ever dated in the history of mankind.
Yes.
If it is just a slight miscommunication issue that just couldn't be worked out between the both of you, for sure, we get it. Okay, I guess, find somebody who does match your energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it definitely is a gray area. But I'm just glad that we were at least, I'm glad that you're able to kind of like share some of your experiences from it at least.
Yeah, for sure.
um and even just like in a dating hemisphere, so are there any like crazy dates or any like I don't know, wild experiences that you would be willing to share with us? Any fun stories?
Oh god, again, Sean, where do I start? I have a really fun series on my Instagram that is called Welcome to My Dating Life. And I don't post on like share stories on that series consistently, but every now and then I'll share something that's funny that happened that I'm like, you got to be kidding me that this is really what's happening. Um the inspiration for the podcast was definitely probably one of the craziest, and I think we'll get into that in a bit, but so I'll save that story. Most recently, the wildest thing, it wasn't even, like, the man himself, but he brought his dog on a date, and I held the leash of the dog, and the dog pulled my hand so hard that my finger snapped.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so
Wow.
we're about 4 months from that, and I'm still, like, my finger's still bruised.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Was it like a
So,
big dog or something? Like,
it was a golden retriever.
oh, not the golden.
Yeah. Yep, so that happened. There was a guy that I had gone out on a few dates with. It was either last summer or the summer before, and we ended up being on the same flight to New York, and he saw me, like, we didn't see each other on the plane, but he saw me after the flight, but he couldn't remember my name, but he remembered where I worked, and so instead he shouted in the airport where I worked, and I had it on my backpack too, and I didn't hear it, and I was with girlfriends, and, like, "I think that guy is yelling at you." And I turned, and I was like, "Oh god." So I went to go say hi, and then I remember being so mad that I was like, "You couldn't even remember my name?" So then I saw him waiting for the train, I was like, "You had the audacity to shout where I worked, but you couldn't remember my name to get my
Wow.
attention?" No.
Unhinged.
Yeah,
Unhinged.
yeah, just if you can't remember my name, you don't have to address me and say hi. You don't have to.
Exactly, exactly. XYZ company, XYZ company. Hey, you XYZ company, come over here.
Literally.
Long time no see. Wow.
So, yeah, I like to say that the funny stories that I have, it's not from anyone being unsafe, thank God, or anything like that. It's one of those things where you just walk away being like, "Really?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, since you shared like one of your stories, I'll share one of mine. I
Yeah, let's go,
it's
let's
on
hear it.
for sure, for sure. Um, so like, let's see. Oh yeah, so like I know like most of the listeners, they probably heard this story before, but this one is probably the ones that stood out the most. And so sushi is my favorite food in the entire world. And so I had
Preach.
connected with somebody that I right. Oh, and sorry if there's a delay too. Like my computer's been
You're
having a
good.
day.
You're good.
but but yeah, sushi is like my favorite food in the entire world. And so we went to like this sushi spot, and this was like back when I was in Chicago, because now I'm in LA. I moved out here about a year ago. But when I was in Chicago, went to this sushi spot, and like, mind you, we met on, what was that app? Coffee Meets Bagels. So the conversation, everything's going great. We're chatting it up and everything. And then I make a plan because I like planning. I'm a planner at heart. It's like a guilty pleasure for me. Planning, cooking, like all that stuff. I just love it. But thank you. Thank you. but but yeah, so made a plan. I'm like, hey, like let's meet here at this time, and here's some, like some dates or whatever. Let me know whichever works best. So we finally narrow it down. We get there, and so mind you, the sushi place is like your average sushi restaurant, like nothing fancy at all by any means.
Yeah.
My date walks in wearing like the most expensive like clothes ever, like like designer bag. I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm just looking around. I'm like, am I underdressed or something? No, I think everybody here is wearing like, just casual, Thursday evening attire, nothing
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
So, we sit down, start chatting it up and everything. And for like, kid you not, like literally an hour and a half, she starts talking about how she doesn't need a man to pay for anything. Now, we love an independent woman, like go all the way to the fuck off. Yes, like we're all here for it. Mind you, I
Yep.
was hyping her up. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. You're independent, love it. But she kept
Yeah.
reiterating how she doesn't need a man to pay for anything. I'm just like, yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, how many times do we have to keep going through this? But anyway,
Yeah.
so, at the end, the waiter hands us the bill, and asks how we want to pay for it. And so, recollecting this past hour and a half, I'm like, well, she says she doesn't need a man to pay for anything. I don't want to offend her, and so
Yeah.
literally, I turn to the waiter and I'm just like, we'll split it. Literally, like.
But literally, what do you do in that situation?
Exactly. I'm like, am I being tested? Like, what's going on? Like, and so the waiter goes back and runs both of our cards. Like, my date, her demeanor completely changes. She's just like, can I ask you something? I'm like, sure, what's up? I think it's very disrespectful that you didn't pay for this entire date at all. And I was just like, well, you said the past hour and a half, you didn't even man to pay for anything. I didn't want to offend you. Needless to say, there was like I was out. There was never a second date. Like I think we were both just like, no.
That's okay. That's so funny that you say that because, yeah, like, she's talking about that. So it puts you in a really uncomfortable situation. I had a date once that the bill came and he said that we would split it. And I was like, yeah, I could, like, again, independent woman. I can pay for myself. That's totally fine. She takes our cards and I was like, I want you to know that, like, I am totally fine with paying for my half, but I do like it when a man takes care of it on the first date. Like, to me, that shows that he's interested. And that man turned around so fast to get our server's attention to grab my card and say that he was going to pay for it. But then he also opened up. He was like, I don't really know what to do anymore on first dates because there are some people who do get offended and upset if y'all pay for it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what do we do? And like, I
What do
know
you
on my
do?
right, and on my end, like I'd say at least like of the dates that I've gone on, I'd say at least like 95 to 90% percent of those dates that I've gone on, I've paid for because I'm just like, okay, well, the way I see it is whoever asks who out, we're in 2025. So most of the time it's me asking the other person out, hey, like let's go ahead and make a plan. And on top of
Yeah.
that, I think women have a lot more to prepare for for a date, makeup, like getting ready, all this. Guys, you just have to just throw on a fucking shirt and you're there. Like
It is a whole ordeal.
exactly. So I think even just that, like, yeah, of course the guy should pay, especially if he likes the girl. Like, why not pay for the first date?
Yeah.
It's like like I said, like the guy, he's gonna have a lot less effort getting ready for the date than the woman does. And so, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's just a nice thing to do, especially if you're asking that person out.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So
Oof.
I'm glad to know that I'm not, I haven't lost my mind yet.
No, you're not alone in that.
Trying to improve your skincare game? Guess what? I got a little something for you. You can improve the health of your skincare with the Vogue approved. Yes, you heard that right. Vogue, as in Vogue magazines, the models. Yes, that Vogue. The Vogue approved beauty product, Herbal Face Food, the most potent anti aging, multi correction skincare product on the market. Yes. So hit that link in the show notes or video description and use our code SPHFF to get 20% off at checkout. Visit herbalfacefood.com to get started. That's HERBALFACEFOOD.com. All right. And use code S as in Sam, P as in pineapple, H as in Henry, F as in Frank, F as in Frank to get 20% off at checkout. That's SPHFF to get 20% off. All right. Herbalfacefood.com. Okay. Y'all got the hookup. So let them know that Situaseans podcast sent you. All right. And so, yeah, so I kind of want to know, even just circling back to kind of just the intentionality behind dating. So I want to know, like,
Yeah.
why do you think it's important for us to be our true, authentic selves when we're dating?
Because if you're not, you literally are dating with a mask on.
Yes.
And eventually that mask has to come off, and eventually they're going to see you for who you are. So why not just be your real self at the very beginning? And I think vice versa, in terms of like you dating someone and you want them to be authentic in return. I want to be able to make a decision that is best for myself as we continue to get to know each other. When I see and learn who you are at your core, is that who I truly feel is going to be a good match for me, not who your mask is. And so I think it's almost a two-way street, right? It's I'm going to be my authentic self right away. I'm going to play all my cards on the table because either you'll like me or you don't. But also, I have enough respect going into dates to show you who I am so you can also make that decision. Does
Absolutely.
that make
Yes.
sense?
I couldn't have said that better because yeah, you're not because like if we're not showing up to the date as who we actually are, we are not only wasting like, our time, but also that other person's time. And then because yeah, if we're showing up as this false version of ourselves and and like, and this person that we're dating or whatever starts to like, like us for whatever this other personality that we are, and then down the line
Yeah.
it all switches and changes. Whoa, like, what did I just get myself into? The other person gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, I thought you were this person. Clearly, I didn't know who the fuck you were.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, it's a time waster.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think a lot of us can agree that time is one of the most valuable things that we have. And it's also one of the things that when it is wasted, it irritates us so much.
Yes. Yes. Especially for us that are dating in our 30s.
Sean, we don't have time to waste.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. So you like those of you that are listening and watching, like, it is so important to just be yourself because it is going to be harder to keep up with that other version or that fake version of yourself. And eventually that is going to get exposed. So it's best to
Hmm.
just show up as yourself. And on
Yeah.
top of that, like look at the economy and how expensive it is to live. Like like, do you really want to be going on these dates, whatever, showing up as some other motherfucker, wasting
No.
your money? Oh goodness.
I think that it's also a really good point for people to be able to pause and reflect how they're showing up, because I think if you have enough awareness around how you're showing up on dates, and if you know that you're not being your real self when you're going into these first dates, second dates, third dates, it's a really good lesson for you to kind of hit pause and ask yourself why.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think sometimes we forget to kind of just look within ourselves and kind of remind ourselves, oh yeah, what is it that we actually want? Like, what is it that, the
Mhm.
values that we look for in somebody else. And I think sometimes, and what I've started to see, even just not only like some of my friends that are out there dating, or even just on social media, you'll hear about people saying, "Oh yeah, well I went on a date with this person, and this person kind of felt like they were just giving the same answers or answering the way that I wanted them to, just because they
Yes.
wanted to see me again." It's wild.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah,
wild, wild west.
yeah, exactly, exactly. That should be like the next dating app. Wow.
Oh, okay, ideas.
Right? If anybody heard that, it's already been copyrighted by Madden and I, so fuck off.
Yeah, back off, it's ours.
Exactly.
Oh,
And I think, like one of the things that that stood out about even just like your overall business and like your profile and everything, and even like your page and just hearing like you talking your podcast is breaking some of like those repetitive dating patterns. And I kind of want to talk about this because I think this one is really going to resonate with so many people. So I kind of want to know, how can we break those old dating patterns that aren't really serving us and kind of begin dating differently and more intentionally?
yeah. Well, I think that is the big overarching question that my podcast is working to dissect, that
Mhm.
the whole premise of we're dating the same guy, while it started because I was dating a man who was also dating 5 other women at the same time, so I literally was dating the same guy as other people. We also tend to date the same types of people over and over and over again and end up getting the same results. It doesn't work out. And so we can go at this from a multitude of ways, but the very easy one to go at this as is attachment styles. Like that is really where a lot of this comes to the core, that you have an individual who is anxious, you have an individual who's avoidant, and they keep attracting each other over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, they keep doing this. And so people start feeling the same way in their relationships because they're repeating their same patterns. They might start feeling anxious consistently. They might start feeling frustrated because communication's not happening. Like we have all of these different cycles, but there's so many different ways that we can start to break them. So we can, like my podcast whole point is so we can date differently. But the number one way to start it is that you have to become aware of it. And so some of us aren't ready to become aware of it, and that's okay. But I think you eventually get to a point in your dating life where you feel exhausted.
Yeah.
And I think it's in that exhaustion where you take a step back and ask like what is going on?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, yes, you're dating the same types of people, but who's going to break that cycle? You.
Yes. There we go. Oh, yeah.
So
And I
you have to do a lot of the inner work and a lot of the self assessment and awareness first before you can actually go out and break the cycle.
absolutely, absolutely. Go all the way the fuck off. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree because even this is like one example that I've experienced just dating on the apps, especially in more so in the recent past. Was I remember going on a date with somebody else, maybe like 3 or 4 dates, and after like the third date, this person had revealed to me, "Hey, I just got out of a relationship about 3 or 4 months ago, and I'm still
Mhm.
processing from that." And I was, glad that she was able to share that with me. But I was, but
Yeah.
like internally, I was just like, and I never said this, but in the back of my mind, I'm just like, "Girl, you shouldn't be out here dating if you're still processing, and if it's such a recent breakup, why are you here?" But
There's
yeah.
so much of that, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah, yeah, it's like people that have not healed or just got out of a relationship or don't know what they wanna do, and it's just like, "Alright," and then, and then, like, you'll hear about somebody that has on their profile, I don't know, what is it, like, still figuring out dating goals, and they're like, late 30s, 40s, whatever, it's like, "What are you doing?"
Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
I literally won't even match with people that have that as their like what type of relationship they're looking for because I'm like,
Yeah.
I again, time. you're gonna waste my time.
Exactly, exactly. Like those types of daters, like they should find other apps. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of Tinder is for people that was figuring out their dating goals. I mean, Tinder's a
Yeah.
whole never different ball game, but I mean, I don't know. It's just like,
There are other apps for you to figure those things out.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And Harley would agree, right, Harley? Those of you that are watching watching on YouTube or Spotify, Harley the Husky, she has her little cameo. She just wanted to say hi to Madden. So
I love it.
but yeah, and so there was like another thing that I really wanted to know. So even just with your podcast, so even though like, yeah, you're covering dating, relationships, and just all these other different factors that kind of influence how we show up in the world and even just how we date, how we meet new people, form these connections. Um
Yeah.
uh so like was so pretty much like your dating experiences is I just want to make sure that I'm understanding that correctly. That kind of is what started like the podcast, right? Like that's where it all kind of spawned from, right?
Yeah, so I was, dating a man, and it's almost 2 years at this point, which is crazy to think about, but I was dating a man, and, eventually he made it appear that we were exclusive because there was one point I had called him out on something and felt like he didn't want to see me, or again, 2 years ago, so details are a little cloudy, but he said they're like, "You're the only one I'm talking to. Like, you're the only one I'm seeing." So I was like, "Okay, cool, like, amazing." To find out that he literally was dating 5 other women at the same time. So when he was appearing
Yeah.
to be super busy and had no time to go on dates, because the dude was freaking going on dates with 5 other women. Yeah, I wouldn't have time either for one other person. And it was actually really funny. Like we crossed our stories and found like, okay, where was he at this time? Oh, he was with you, but he told me he had to go do X, Y, and Z. It was
Oh,
insane.
wow.
But we joke 'cause I'm now actually friends with a few of the women, and we joked at the time that we were gonna create a podcast called "We're Dating the Same Guy."
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
it never
Okay.
happened, but the name was still sticking with me, and then I dated a few other people, had that moment of reflection of like, "What the fuck is happening? Like, why is this happening to me?" To then realize, "Okay, yeah, it's literally your dating patterns and dating cycles, and that's why you're dating the same types of people."
Wow. All right. I've
Yeah.
finally connected the dots. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
No, like I'm glad that you were able to kind of turn like such a not ideal experience into, something positive and even just this network that you're, forming with your listeners and even just the
Mhm.
people around you. Like, I'm glad that you're helping so many people and finding and helping people get out of those repetitive dating patterns because we're all a
Yeah.
victim of it, myself included.
It was that relationship, situationship, whatever you wanna call it, was such a pivotal point for me in my growth. It's actually what brought me back to therapy because my anxiety was so bad, and, I think because then it led me on a different journey of, self-discovery and, like, working through a lot of things that I was holding on internally. Again, I was able to connect the dots, but I think it also opened my eyes to supporting people in a whole different way that, like I was saying earlier, I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready to fully step into this role as a dating coach to support people in all the different avenues of dating and what that encompasses because I had yet to actually face a lot of things myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. And really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that with us. I know
Yeah.
for me on my end, even when I first got on the dating apps, so long story short, I was divorced. So I was married at like 24. Yeah, married at 24, divorced at 26. The
Okay.
listeners they know this whole story, but to make a long story short,
Yeah.
my fiance had cheated on me a month before the wedding. Someone slid in her DMs, and she just was meeting up with this guy. All the things, yeah, it hurt like hell,
Oh,
and
fuck.
the only way that I found out about it was that, she pretty much had to tell me because I guess that she told me because the guy was blackmailing her, like, "Hey, if you don't keep meeting up with me, sending news, I'm gonna tell your guy what you're doing." So she just told me, and broke my heart, and yeah, like just had a hard time just trusting people, and I was just like,
100%.
it just put me kind of like in a funk, and so
Yeah.
first year of the marriage, could not trust her. Second year of the marriage, saw a marriage counselor. We were trying to figure things out. I was like, nah, I can't do this. And so
Yeah.
asked for a divorce. But I think even just like getting on a dating apps, like about pretty much like almost like a year like after the fact, um, I think what it taught me was just, not to stay in something, like not to stay in a relationship or stay in a dynamic for somebody else or to make somebody else happy if I'm going to suffer. And then on top of that,
Mhm.
I had to learn how to trust, women again because
Yeah.
I really did because I was just like, oh no, like because mind you, I was never the person that was like, hey, let me go through your phone, like because I don't care, like your phone is your business, I don't care,
Totally.
like
Yeah.
but I was never really like that. But I think it was just more so like if I don't know, let's say if like a girl that I was dating was just like in the beginning stages, of course, like this was probably like again like when I first got onto the dating apps. If
Yeah.
I was dating somebody 3 or like, I don't know, maybe a month or so. It's like, like enough time to like try to see if there is something there.
Yeah.
Um, if they were taking like I don't know, a day or 2 to respond, like, I was kinda just, like, overthinking, "Oh, you know what? Like, she's probably seeing all these other
Mm.
different people," and it's like, I get it, we're not in a relationship, she can
Yeah.
do what she wants, but I was just like, "Well, I'm fine with that now, but what if, like, we get into something and we decide to date
Yeah.
exclusively? Would she still go behind my back or whatever and, like, see other people or what?"
Yeah.
It put me into such, like, a spiral, and thank goodness I had like a therapist that I was talking to kinda like talk through some of those things, but
Yep.
it definitely helped a lot and it helped me to be able to trust people again. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah, yeah, but, yeah, and so, um, I definitely wanna get married one day. And so right now I'm just, figuring life out just like everybody else, but I do see myself getting married one day. I think, I'm
Yeah.
at the point where it's like if the other person that I'm dating really wants marriage, absolutely, but I'm not like, "Okay, yeah, like 1,000%, like, let's go
Yeah.
ahead and do it." I would wanna do it if the other person wants to do it and if we there is that strong foundation because I would
100%.
hate to get divorced again.
Yeah. I think the older we get, we realize we don't have time to waste, but at the same time, I am not going to force anything or rush into anything.
Right, right.
Yeah. So it's like a
Exactly.
weird balance of the 2.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Because, like, yeah, we are investing, like, ourselves, like, our time, our money, our heart, like,
Yeah.
everything is on the line in, like,
Yeah.
when you're, like, in that, and so, yeah, it is a big decision to have to make and
Mhm.
have to, consider for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So even for your podcast, just so like now that everybody is like who's listening in, like I know the listeners that are tuning in, they're like, oh my god, we love Madden, like go all the way the fuck off. Like I know for a fact they're gonna be tuning in to your podcast for sure.
Love
So
it.
like, can you kind of like give us a little bit of a setup of how it is? Are there certain guests that you have on? Tell us a little bit about the setup of the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, the majority of our episodes have guests and experts that come on that talk about our patterns and cycles from all these different lenses. And we're also talking about topics that potentially are stigmatized or more on the hush hush because in order to date differently, you have to be able to talk about topics that potentially make you uncomfortable or that you aren't used to talking about. Like you have to open your mind and your perspective to all of these different avenues. So we have therapists on, we have coaches on, we talk about polyamory and we talk about God and your relationships. Like we are covering the whole spectrum of dating.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Love that. Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I think everyone that is listening in and tuning in, oh yeah, like they're like, I already know for a fact, like this is right up a lot of their alley. So this is
Mhm.
definitely something that is going
I
to
love
help
that.
them out. So
Yes.
I'm thanking you in advance for like helping so many people.
Thank you. Yes, come tune in.
Yes, please, please, please do, you all. Follow, 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 and, like, the links and everything are gonna be in the, show notes of this description so that you all can all, go over there and check it out, and yeah, work, 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 work on yourselves, and yeah,
Yes.
Madden is there to help you all out.
I got you. I got you.
Absolutely. And as you know, and speaking of which, this is the perfect tie-in because I want to know about the dating coaching. So, kind of like, what would a session like that with you look like for anybody interested in getting started?
Yeah, so I essentially work with people anywhere between 6 weeks and 12 weeks. So I don't typically do one-off sessions because, again, if we're talking about your dating life and your patterns and your cycles, we can't fix that overnight. Like, that's not gonna happen. So I have 4 stages that I walk people through. The very first stage that we go through is our disconnect phase, and disconnect from all of the patterns, all of the limiting beliefs, all of the mindsets and behaviors that have basically stood in our way from starting new ways of dating. And then once we do that, we go into a phase that I call our deepen phase. So now we deepen our relationship with ourselves. How do we want to show up? How do we want to be attracting our partners? How do we want to date? And then in order to date differently, we actually have to go and date. So then phase 3 is the actual dating phase. And we can work through your dating apps, we can work through your profiles. But I essentially want my clients to go out on dates and go interact with people and then bring their stories back and bring back what they're learning about themselves. Like, we can't do all of that if we're not actually putting ourselves out there to date and to connect. So then, once we have a lot of research, once we have a lot of data, we can work through our final stage, which is devotion. And in that devotion phase, it's, what are you devoted to staying on track and devoted to keeping as your new pattern to then finally find the relationship that you would love to be in?
All right. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely great information. So, yeah, like, you're helping people along, like their path and getting them
Yes.
to that finish line of, hey, like, getting to that date, making that connection, finding their forever person. So, this is
Yeah.
really, really good.
And eventually, once we get to that devotion phase, like, you're obviously still dating, but my clients are able to pick up on things so quickly and discern so fast because they've done all of that disconnection. They've done all of that deep work. They're able to really tune into what it is that they want. They're able to tune in faster to what's working, what's not working. So again, we're not wasting time.
There you go. You all heard it here first. So definitely get in contact with Madden and get started. Like, she is going to help you all out and kick you into shape.
Yes.
I guess, like, physically wise, if you want to work with her, like, because she is
I
a
got you
fitness pro,
all.
right? So she'll kick you into shape, that, like, definitely workout wise and dating and relationship wise. Like, so
For sure.
she's a powerhouse, you all.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, can you do me a really quick favor? Can you please rate and review this podcast? Like, hit that 5-star review, because, and I do read all the reviews, because this helps me know how this podcast is helping others and how, this podcast is serving you, because my job as a host is to serve you this podcast the way that you would prefer it to be.
Oh.
So we got a couple of Hinge or Unhinged listener submissions, and so
Oh.
this week, this comes from Hinge, and I'm like, we are excited to unpack this, right, Madden?
I'm so excited.
I want to appreciate. I appreciate you all for, like, submitting all of these submissions. And so, if you all want to get started, again, go to situationspodcast.com/submit. There's a anonymous submission form. So submit whatever screenshot, question, whatever it is you want me and a guest to unpack. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and jump right on in. So this first one, this one comes from Hinge. This one says, change my mind about men. So Madden, I want to know if you see this, like whatever,
Wait,
is this Hinge or unhinged? Like whoever, if your friends shared this with you, or if you just saw this out and about, what would you say about that?
wait, is this like someone messaged that to someone in a dating app?
Yeah, great question. So this is so one of my listeners, anonymous listeners, they had shared this and they said, "Hey, can you unpack this on the episode?" I'm like, "All right, for sure, will do." So, and the context behind this is, um, so it's an anonymous a female, but she said, "Oh yeah, her friend." Had this on her profile and sent it to her and was like, "Hey, is this a good thing to kind of like put on my Hinge? I'm kind of feeling like kind of down in the dumps right now."
Oh,
So,
so it's like their answer to a prompt.
hmm,
So, okay, their friend had that. So, their friend, who I'm assuming is female and is
hmm,
wanting to date male, said,
exactly.
"Change my mind." That's bold. Oh, that's bold. But she'll get a lot of matches for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When I first saw this, I was like, if I saw this on Hinge as I'm swiping, how would I react? I'd be like, you know what? I'm like, my response would be fair, girl, fair.
Exactly. I think people would be fair, or people would be like, "I wanna know the type of men you've been dating."
Yes.
Or 3, let me prove to you that there's, like, still good ones out there. You're gonna
Yes.
get the whole range, and then you're gonna get the dicks that respond.
Exactly. Right, exactly, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna get so many different various responses for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like this person she'll be able to weed out the, I guess, like the not ideal men or like the insecure men, because the insecure ones are gonna be like, oh, it's not like, oh, what are you talking about? How about I say change my mind about women? Like
E
anybody that's
Totally.
gonna jump in her inbox that's gonna say something wild, she'll be able to filter that out, be like, all right, not my match.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So this next one says, okay, so this one comes from Bumble. So
Okay.
another listener has submitted this. And so they kept, like, they didn't tell me like their gender or anything like that. Cause the anonymous form, it doesn't
Okay.
ask for names or anything like that. It just says like, hey, do you identify as one of
Perfect.
the genders? Let us know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this one, they decided to like opt out of letting us know the gender. So I don't
Yep.
think gender matters for this one either, but let's go ahead and jump on in. So this one says, so I guess it's an opening move. It says rate yourself out of 10. And so whoever responded solid 7. And then the person who said rate yourself out of 10 responded with, sorry, I'm looking for an 8.5. Madden, if you saw this or came across this and encountered this, is this hinged or unhinged? If you experienced this, or if any of your friends came across this, what would you say?
Goodbye. Goodbye. Also, though, you matched with me, so clearly you think I'm then an 8.5 or higher.
Exactly. Exactly. I just think this person was just probably trying to be funny, or just try to, I don't know. I get sometimes there are people out there that like to, I don't know, just give people shit or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is a, I don't know. It like behind the screen, it's so hard to get context, because it does come off as assholery when you read it
Totally.
at face value.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
This one is a
Uh-uh.
tough one. I'm with you on that. If I match with somebody and then I got that same response, sorry, I'm looking for an 8.5, I'd be like, all right, well, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh goodness. I feel like back in my cynical days, I would have been like, "Oh, that's perfect," because if you and I were together, it would have made an 8. Like I'm already a 7, so if you and I together would have made an 8.5. If I
That's
added you
actually
into the picture, yeah, now we're at 8.5.
that's funny. That actually would have been a really savage comeback to be like, "Well, you're a 1.5, so together we're that 8.5."
Exactly, exactly. Oh goodness. Wow, wow, wow. That is the Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West.
I swear that should just be like the title of this episode.
Literally, yes.
Oh, goodness, goodness. Wow, wow, wow. No, these are really, really, really great ones. I really appreciate you all sharing that.
So good.
All right. So, Madden, I really want to say thank you so much for helping us
Thank
solve dating and
you.
all the things. And you are just such a bright light to just have on the show. So, thank you for providing all those insights.
So nice. Thank you. This was such a joy. Such a joy.
Yeah, yeah, I really appreciate it. And for our listeners that are tuning in, can you let us know where we can find you? Like any social media handles you want to share? Let us
Yeah.
all know.
Yeah, totally. So I hang out over on Instagram mainly. And so you can find me at Madden Zappa. And then you can tune in to We're Dating the Same Guy on both Apple and Spotify.
Awesome. All
Yeah.
right. You all got all the information now. So get in contact with Madden and yeah, like let's go ahead and solve dating together, you
Let's
all.
date differently, y'all.
Date differently. Yes. And whether you all are on a boat, a plane, a train, hey, maybe you can be one of Madden's, like clients. You can take Situations podcast with you wherever you go. We are everywhere. Rate, review, subscribe, and please go follow Madden and rate, review, subscribe. Give her 5 stars on her podcast because I know it's great. I heard an episode, so I can definitely
Thank
confirm it
you.
is a great podcast.
Thank you.
And with that, I will see you all back here for the next episode in a couple of weeks. Woo!